Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com. Hope you're having an amazing one, Wrestlezona family, whenever you happen to be tuning in, and welcome back. My name is Lance Reece, your definitive host for the hour. I've been a fan of professional wrestling since I was about 6 years old, begging my parents to buy me action figures ever since I saw videos of Jeff Hardy Swanson bombing on YouTube. We got another packed episode for you today, as we here on episode 34 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse will cover what's happening in the world of WWE, All Elite Wrestling, the Indies, and even wrestling here local in the Valley. Stay tuned to hear some exciting news about next week's coverage of yesterday's NWA New Mexico Duke City Championship Wrestling Thrill of Tradition event, as well as our reruns of the Zamaya and Devin Reno Wrestlezona interviews. We also have some exciting themes, so you won't want to miss it. For today's episode on Sunday, February 8th, we have a constant theme that will play into next Sunday, February 15th, here on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. Yesterday, February 7th, Saturday, Wrestlezona had the opportunity to travel to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and go to the historic El Rey Theater in downtown Albuquerque to cover NWA New Mexico's Duke City Championship Wrestling Thrill of Tradition event, featuring the likes of Pretty City Express of Class and Devin Reno, who we will get to soon, as well as, some other PCW standouts here, like the marvelous Jaden Monroe, as well as some favorites of mine, Zamaya, Taylor York, Two Scoops Tommy Test, as well as the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Thrillbilly Silas Mason. This was an explosive night full of action, and we will have the full coverage of that event for you next Sunday, February 15th. I bring this all up because the focus for this episode will be two reran interviews of some of those names I just mentioned, and the first one I would like to get to is one half of Pretty City Express. Remember the name Devin Reno. I had interviewed him back for the 19th episode of Wrestlezona. I really can't do this man that much justice with words, so I think it's only fitting that we play you the interview I had with him for that episode. So, without further ado, here is the old Wrestlezona interview of Devin Reno here on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. So yeah, I'm joined here with Devin Reno of Pretty City Express, and I'm just gonna ask straight up, how did you and Class come to formulate Pretty City Express?
Yeah, so it was actually a long journey. So day one at the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center, you have to try out, right?
Yeah.
And so I get there, and I'm going through the thing where we just warmed up, and Class walks in, and he was actually assigned to me as like the counter or my spotter, and he doesn't remember that, but I was like, oh, this guy like looks like a wrestler. He's big, he's jacked, he carries himself a certain way. Like, that's what I aspire to be. And so we kind of, I paid my dues and worked really hard. And he was a mentor at the school. And I kind of asked him some questions, and he started taking me on the road. And he's someone who you need to show something first in order for him to invest time and energy into you. And I was one of the people he invested time and energy into. And we were going to all the same shows, but nobody ever said anything about us. They just were like, oh, okay, yeah, that's Class's, kid, whatever. And then he got hurt. And when he was hurt, I was going to the same shows that I had been doing, except I must have hit like some progress, or like I broke through a plateau, because everyone was like, you remind me of Class. Do you know him? And I'm like, dude, I've been traveling with them for the past 6 months. Like, you're just now putting that together? And they're like, yeah, like maybe when he gets back, we'll put you in a tag team or something. And sure enough, that's every single promotion we went to. And we're saying the same thing. And I didn't pitch it. I didn't talk to them about it. They didn't talk to each other. They just saw us separately. And they were like, oh, and I think because they missed Class, they wanted someone to fill that void. And so when he was coming back, I was like, hey man, just a heads up, I'm not trying to do this, but I think we're gonna be a tag team. And he was like, no, that'd be perfect because I need to get back in, and I need to, ease my body back into it. And I felt bad because, are you familiar with Class? Has he
Yeah.
been on here?
He hasn't been on here, but I'm familiar with his work.
He'd be a good guest, but he is like, he has star written all over him. He's the top of the card everywhere he goes. He looks great. He's a phenomenal worker. He's an actual psychologist for his job, so he's very smart. And for me, that's so much pressure. Like, okay, this is my mentor, my big brother, and I have to make sure when he gets back, I'm not holding him back. I need to rise to his level. And if he's going to be kind of put in a tag team where he was, rising up the card as a singles guy everywhere and getting on the map, then I need to pull my weight. And so that kind of led to us like starting to tag. And as soon as we tagged and we saw us on camera together, it was like, oh, okay, this is meant to be. So from there, we just started really, really working, and we had different names everywhere. Some places we were Billionaire Boys Club. At Ultra and PCWEZ, we were Power and Privilege. Other places just called the Class in Reno, but they were all like, this is our name, you can't use it anywhere else. So when people were referring us or wanting to book us, they were like, what do we call you? And we had to like get them to change their flyers because that name wouldn't fly with this promotion down the road and all that stuff. So we were just like, you know what? We're Pretty City Express everywhere. And we kind of rebranded at the beginning of this year, and we've really, really set some good momentum going forward. And I'm really excited for what's coming up for sure.
That's great. So you mentioned, kind of jumping around, you mentioned how he's a bit of a mentor to you. What can you say about your other mentors like Dr. Tom Pritchard?
Yes, yeah. So Dr. Tom is awesome. There's an issue with Arizona wrestling that I believe is we're kind of isolated from everywhere else. Like you go East Coast, there's a pop and indie scene out there because it's a 3-hour drive to everywhere essentially, at least Northeast. And then even the Pacific Northwest is starting to get some clout. SoCal's always there, but Arizona's kind of isolated, and so people don't branch out and they don't leave. And that's something that me in Class, with the under the guidance of one of our trainers, Max, and Dom tells us to do this too, but it's get out there, go learn as much as you can. And so we just said, you know what, Dr. Tom, we got a recommendation from somebody high up in the business, and they were like, hey, if you guys are going to take this seriously, go to Dr. Tom's. And he said, I'll put a word in for you. So Tom will expect you, and you'll have some like something going into it. And so we messaged Dr. Tom. We're like, hey, this person recommended us. We'd love to go out there for a week. And he was like, yeah, sure. And we just spent a week watching wrestling and learning and going over our tape and being in ring with Dr. Tom. And we still kind of talk to him. And that's kind of like you said we have a lot of mentors. That's what I think is the key to success in the business, is getting advocates everywhere.
Would you say advocacy is what is the key to driving past the travel issues of Arizona wrestling, like you were saying? Because I love how you said Northeast. It's perfect for them because they can drive 30 minutes to 2 hours and they're in the next state, next show. But here it's more spaced out, even bridging the gap between the SoCal scene or any California scene with Arizona is kind of tough. But what have you been doing to kind of help bridge that gap?
Yes, having advocates in all these places helps, and you gotta suck it up and you gotta do the drives. Especially SoCal. Those are some long drives that can be 6-7 hours, and then you have to be at work the next day or another show in another state, and you're like, all right, like no sleep, we got to get on the road. So I think it's a mixture of paying your dues, and this is something that I don't understand with modern wrestling, and I tell the students at the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center this. I used to watch every single interview I could when I was younger. Are you familiar with Colt Cabana, The Art of Wrestling?
Yes.
So I listened to like every episode as much as I could, and every wrestler talks about how long the drives were and how much they were in cars and how they didn't get paid a lot at first. And so that was something I was prepared for. But if you ask people when they first get on the road, they're like, yeah, it's a lot of time. Yeah, man. Like, what'd you expect? Did you not listen to an interview? So it is, as much as it is like getting advocates, nobody's going to want to advocate for you if you're not willing to work for you. So a lot of it is just proving time and time again that you're willing to do the drives, you're willing to do whatever they need on the show, and not only just do whatever they need, but make it good. A lot of people are like, well, I don't get it. I'm there. I help set up sometimes. I'm nice. It's like, okay, but do you take what they want and make it good, or do you just survive it?
Mm.
And if you get a 5-minute match and it's not remembered at the end of the show, maybe you didn't do your job. Or if you get a 5-minute match and you decide to go 8 because you want to get some moves in, that's not doing the job. The job at that night or at that time is a 5-minute match, make it as good as you can while not, I don't want to say outshining, but while not taking other people's roles in the show.
Yeah.
You know, the show builds a certain way and it should be that way. And if you can't perform in your role on the show, they're not going to trust you with more than that.
No callbacks.
Right. Because
Yeah.
it's like, you can't do 5 minutes without going 8. So if I give you 8, what are you going to do? Go 12? You know, and how much are you going to take from me? I'm giving you a role and a job and what I want you to do. And if you can't perform that, why would I bring you back?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get in their heads about that. You have to give what you're 100% to what you're given. So
Would you rather go 3 minutes in what's supposed to be a 5-minute match, or 8 minutes in what's supposed to be a 5-minute match? You think going under or over is worse for your reputation?
I think over is worse.
Mm.
You do need to be able to like do both. So I've been in situations where they say, "Hey, you got 3 minutes." I go, "Okay, I'll make it work." And then we get out there, they're like, "They added 5 minutes." I go, "Okay." And I think they were trying to mess with us, but at the same time, I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
You know. But to answer your question, I do think it is better to go a little bit under, just because you're not stealing anything from everyone. Yeah, it might suck that they have to go more, but at the end of the day, I'm not taking another person's time to shine. If anything, I ruin my own. So I would rather go under.
Mm. Jumping back to travel, you're based out of Arizona?
Correct. Yep.
Where were you raised?
I was actually, it's the mean streets of Gilbert.
Mm.
That's a real thing. I was born in Flagstaff, but we moved down here when I was young, and we've bounced around between Mesa, Gilbert, Scottsdale, Mesa, Gilbert, Scottsdale, basically. Yeah.
What's the furthest you've traveled to compete?
Tennessee would be one. We actually, it's funny, we flew out to Tennessee to train with Dr. Tom, and then we had a booking Saturday in Denver, or maybe Friday, Saturday. So we had to fly all the way there to train, and then fly all the way to Denver before we could come home. But I'd say Wyoming we just did. That was probably the furthest. Wyoming, which is a unique state to knock off the list for sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard much about the Wyoming wrestling scene.
It's non-existent, but I love the state. We were in Cheyenne, and it was a lot of fun. I love you, Cheyenne, but when I first heard about it, I was like, ugh, why do we have to go to Wyoming? And then I got there, and I was like, man, this is a nifty little town. I like this a lot. Yeah, and then I found out it was the capital. I didn't find that out until like 2 days ago.
So going back to your training, what does the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center and PCWAZ, I guess, in general, mean to you?
It means the world, actually. So when I before the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center, I actually trained at the Lance Storm Wrestling Academy up in Calgary, and that was when I was 18. And it was a 3-month program. It was awesome. Storm is one of the best trainers to ever live, and I was extremely blessed with that opportunity to go there. But I wasn't in the right mental headspace for that. I was a kid. I didn't really know what I was getting into. I was kind of dumb. I shouldn't talk bad about myself. I'm trying to do better with that. But I was kind of not prepared or not mentally strong enough to deal with the challenges. I was in a relationship at the time. That was my first relationship. And I used to say, like, yeah, she kind of like that relationship kind of bogged me down, but that's just an excuse. You know what I mean? Like, I've come to terms with that. It just wasn't the right time in my life to be doing that as much as I loved wrestling. So when I was up there, I convinced myself that wrestling wasn't for me. And I was like, yeah, like it just wasn't what I thought, which is I was lying to myself and everyone else. But in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I was extremely depressed. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it one last shot. I'll try wrestling. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. There we go. I can at least, leave the planet knowing I did my best and I gave young Devin's dream. I always think about 12-year-old Devin. I gave 12-year-old Devin's dream a fair shot. And so I started doing some research. I found a couple schools around the area, but I was a personal trainer at the time. And one of my clients was like, oh, you're into wrestling. Like, you should really give the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center a shot. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't too familiar with that. Why? She's like, well, it's in Mesa. Dom is the trainer there, and her brother was actually at the training center at that time, Dallas, who became a good friend of mine. And she was like, he's changed Dallas's life. Like, he's done so good just in terms of everything, not just wrestling, but as a person. My brother has grown so much. And that was where I was like, that sounds like the place I need to be. So I went there, I did the tryout, or I interviewed first, and Dom and John's vision kind of aligned with mine and their mentality. And so I was like, okay, I think this is where I want to go. And I remember telling myself, I need to give 100% here because I'm not going to, if I end up quitting, that's okay. It's okay that I quit, but I need to know that I at least gave 100%. Because if I quit, just like I did at Storms, and I was like, man, I really could have tried harder, that I can't live with that. So I gave 100%, and I very quickly realized that that was my home. And if you even look at pictures, but if you talk to people who knew me before the training center to now, Dom, John, they all have like made me a man. Essentially, that's what I say. Like I wouldn't be where I am. I wouldn't be doing the things, and I wouldn't have the mindset that I have now and the ability to help others if it wasn't for the school. So it means the world to me.
You're now an assistant trainer at the school?
I guess, yeah, you could say that. I don't like the word trainer because I feel like it's such like a prestigious term in the business.
Feel like you still got more to learn yourself?
Yeah, exactly. And Jerry Lynn was actually he did a seminar, and he was like, I learn every day. And if Jerry Lynn can sit there, who's one of the best in ring technicians probably ever, if he can sit there and say he's still learning, who am I to say that I know everything? Or like, if you're 7 years into the business, who are you to say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you never know everything. So the trainer word should be a little bit more prestigious than it is, because nowadays anybody can be a trainer or call themselves one. But yeah, I have started helping out, and that's truly like, if wrestling's my first passion, coaching is a pretty close second for sure.
Where's your drive to be the best come from?
Ooh, I think that's a genetic component because I my mom's gonna hate that I'm talking. Well, maybe she might not hate that I'm talking about it, but she definitely hated going through it, I'm sure. Every year from pre-K till I left elementary school in 6th grade, I had a separate parent-teacher conference where they would bring my parents in, and my parents were divorced, but they brought both of them in, and they said, this kid is way too competitive. He can't lose at anything. He can't lose at recess. He can't lose at school games. He can't lose at anything. And I remember my dad, and they did their best to, try to, I don't want to say stifle, but get me to understand that losing was okay. But one thing, and I started coaching kids when I was younger, that I realized is a lot of people stifle kids and their competitive drive by saying winning doesn't matter or losing doesn't matter. It's okay. And I don't think that's true. I think you should want to win, because if you're in a competition, that's literally the whole thing.
Yeah.
You should win. You should want to win. And if you don't win, that's okay, but you need to learn from it. And that's something that I learned at the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center. Like, if you fail, it's not the end of the world. And as a kid, I would be severely depressed if I lost, because I felt like a failure. And I remember being 12 years old, just like I'm a disgrace to this world. I'm a disgrace to myself. Like if I lost a game, and that was just, it's like hardwired into me. That's why I say it's genetic. But the idea of, oh, wow, I failed. How did I fail? And how do I make sure that, that will never happen again is actually what I tried teaching kids when I started coaching, because I don't think it's a bad thing to be competitive. I think it's a horrible thing to not know how to lose. And so that's something that I wish I had when I was a kid. So instead of these teachers saying like, hey, you need to stop caring so much, they said, we need to help you learn how to care in a healthy way, if that makes sense. But it is very genetic, I think. Just it's always been that way.
Genetically, like, got a hustler's mentality.
I guess so, yeah, but only about certain things. Like
Yeah.
as I've gotten older, it's like I really only am competitive in terms of like wrestling and the gym. Like everything else, like I know people who are hyper competitive about everything, but if we're gonna play, I don't know, shuffleboard for fun, I don't care if I win. I'm like whatever, I'll still try, and I'm not gonna be like that guy who's too cool for it. But back in the day, it used to be like my whole day would be ruined if I lost. And now I'm like, I don't really care about shuffleboard. Why do I put that much energy into it? I care about wrestling, and I care about improving myself. And I say the gym, but really I'm only in the gym because of wrestling. So I do think there's a certain like limitation to my mindset, the hustler's mindset. But in terms of wrestling, it's 100% for sure.
Were you hustling when you were working at Harkins?
Yeah, I I was a miserable person, so I was not a hustler. But even then, I was trying to be a manager, and I was like trying to improve and trying to help the team out. And it's funny you brought that up. I would actually get in trouble a lot for, especially as a manager, for being the one who like would I was a lot more hot-headed, but aggressively speak my mind if I didn't like something, or I felt like the company was taking advantage of the employees. I don't know how it is now, so I can't speak to it, but the culture when I was there was not a very good one. And I would get into a lot of trouble for saying some things that I probably shouldn't, but just pushing back and pushing back because I felt like they weren't treating the team right. So that mindset was always there. Like, no, you're not going to treat my teammates like this. You're not going to treat these people who work so hard for you like this. And it also got me in a lot of trouble in a corporate environment like that.
What movies were out during your tenure at Harkins? Do you remember?
So I was working at the movies during the peak of the Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, Endgame actually happened on my 21st birthday, and I got Thursday night through Sunday off because it was my 21st, and my friends had all these things planned. We had a concert, we had a festival, we had all this stuff, and I remember telling, because we had I don't know if you were familiar or but they had like all night marathons around that time, and they had every single movie in the MCU leading up to Endgame, which was like a 2-day thing. Like people,
then they'd play Endgame.
yeah,
Oh,
at the
wow.
end, which is cool,
Yeah.
right? But this, like, people were living in our theater for like 2 days straight.
Yeah.
And I remember I go, look, I will work 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. on that last day, and then I'm gone. And they were like, okay, that's fine. And so I did that. But that like era of movies, that's when I was at the theater.
What's a place you haven't wrestled that you would love to wrestle?
Ooh. There's no top. All right. Well, the cop out answer is WWE.
Yeah.
I haven't wrestled for them, but that's the goal. There's really any place I haven't wrestled yet, I want to. Whether it be AEW, TNA, Defy up in the Northwest, House of Glory, even the smaller promotions in these areas. Dreamwave, they're not a small promotion, but Reality of Wrestling, I want to get out to. There are so many places that I think me and Class can just fit really well in. The Northeast has Beyond, Limitless, Blitzkrieg, all of those. I think any place that we haven't been to yet, we want to be there for sure.
Do you notice tribalism in wrestling, not just for big promotions like WWE and AEW, but for the local and indie promotions?
Yeah, big time. I think it's weird. So I think that tribalism between the workers and the fans kind of like parallels each other, or maybe that's the wrong word, but I think on the indie level, the workers and kind of the promoters are like, it's either us or them,
Yeah.
right? And the fans are like, I'm gonna go to whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
And then as the ladder goes up, it starts to flip where the fans are like, oh, it's that company or this company.
Yeah.
I'm only supporting and then the workers are like, who cares?
Who
We're all
cares?
getting paid. It's so weird, and I don't know where that flip or that switch flips, but as I get progressively more, or as I progress more in this business, I'm starting to realize that, like, oh, all of these fans don't care; they just want to see wrestling on this level.
Yeah.
But then you watch the online discourse and you see the crowds, and you're like, oh, they flip.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that flip happens.
I think it's just involving the Triple H era and how things have kind of changed since, WWE has stepped down from Vince, and that sort of pride has, not really, I wouldn't say that was broken, but the pride was definitely like took a step down.
Sure, yeah, because people were scared to be wrestling fans.
Yeah.
They didn't want to admit it, right? I went through that. I was a kid who hit it for a while, but that's a good theory. I think that there's definitely some legs to that for sure.
Mm. What's an expertise of yours that you pride yourself on?
Ooh, I don't know if I'm an expert in anything. I think the thing that works to my benefit the most is my mindset, and I'm not trying to be like a motivational talker or like one of those, what do they call it, the manosphere influencers, or like you just got to train hard and work hard. Like I think it's just the ability to say, I don't know this thing yet. I'm going to learn it, and eventually I'm going to be confident in it. But even if I'm confident, I'm not arrogant. So like right now, I'm very confident in wrestling. I'm very confident in my ability. I'm very confident in my mindset. I know I don't know everything, but I know I can learn everything. And I think that makes me a great asset to any company out there. I'm very confident in that. That being said, as soon as I start going like, oh, I'm too good for this place, or oh, I deserve that, that's where it turns into arrogance, and that's where I never want to fall into. So I think in terms of me being an expert in anything, maybe not. I don't see myself that way, but I do think that my greatest strength is my ability to be like, okay, what do you need from me? I'm going to make sure I learn everything about it. I'm going to give my 110% effort. I'm going to make it good. Whether I believe in it or not, I'm going to make it good. And then as I earn your trust, I'm going to develop into a more complete performer. And I hope to bring that into, I hate, and confidence is a new thing for me, so I hate this. But when I do get the opportunity at a high level, because I know I will one day, I want to take that mindset where I'm confident that I belong here, but I'm not arrogant to the point where I think I deserve to be here, And that's a fine line, I think.
Yeah. I'm Lance Reece, and I've been joined in studio with Devin. Remember the name Reno.
Oh, yeah.
And Devin, I got one last question for you.
Oh, boy.
Picture this.
Okay.
Let's put Pretty City Express back in time and on the biggest stage of them all. If WrestleMania 18's main event of Hogan versus The Rock was a tag team bout, and you and Class had to pick a side, who would be on Hogan's team and who would be on The Rock's team?
Oh, we would be on The Rock's 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we have to like
you versus him, and one of you has to team with Hogan, one of them has to team with The Rock.
I think it's a 3-on-1.
It's a 3-on-1.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna join Hogan. I think it's a 3-on-1. Maybe bring out Hall and Nash to back him up.
Yeah,
we're both Rock guys, and not even getting into what I think about Hogan. I think that's something that we bonded over. He was like, hey, who is your like go-to guy growing up? And mine was The Rock, and he went, well, so was mine. And so we just talked about that. Yeah, sorry, Hogan, you're getting squashed, brother.
You ever read The Rock's memoir, that book?
I haven't. No, not yet. I think I have it, but I need to get better at reading for sure. That's a good question. Yeah, WrestleMania 18, Pretty City Express and The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, 3-on-1.
Wow. Yeah. Well, thank you, Devin, for
Yes.
coming on Wrestlezona. I
Thank you
really
so
do
much.
appreciate your time.
Thank you. This has been awesome.
That was our recapped interview with Devin Reno. Remember the name. One half of Pretty City Express here on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. That originally aired Sunday, June 8th of 2025. I'm Lance Reece. If you missed it here, or if you already missed it in the past, what are you doing? You can always go to WrestleZona.com, 887thepulse.com, or check out Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse on YouTube and Spotify to find that archived interview as a podcast. But now we have another classic, which was the 5th episode of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, that being with Zamaya. This aired January 26, 2025, a full year ago, and was one of the first ever classic Wrestlezona interviews. I, of course, am playing this in support of the NWA New Mexico Thrill of Tradition event that I went to yesterday, and you will have full coverage of that next week, Sunday the 15th. Stay tuned to 88.7 The Pulse, and also check out 88.7 The Pulse to see our website coverage of said event. But now, I present to you that interview. This is our interview with Zamaya here on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse.
Zamaya, what made you want to enter the world of professional wrestling?
I think there's a lot that sums it up. I know, there's always this ongoing joke between my parents that when I was born, that Monday Night Raw was on the TV while they were holding me in their arms. So I kind of say that that's when it started, but as I got older, it was always on the TV. My dad was obsessed with wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I started gravitating towards it, and I started watching it a lot more, and just seeing how much my dad loved it, it made me love it too. And the older I got, he started taking me to shows, and I just fell in love with it every time I saw it live. And by the time I was in high school, the obsession wasn't really going away. So I was like, I should try this. So being obsessed with it all through my life, and then realizing the obsession was never going away, I thought, well, I got to do it. So that's kind of how it happened. I blame my dad for all of this. He got me obsessed.
Would you say that's pretty commonplace with wrestlers getting into wrestling through family who have some interest in it?
I'd say so. Speaking to a lot of my friends that also wrestle, I'd say that their families also watched it. And I think, especially in school, I feel like a lot of people around me also watched wrestling. So it was kind of like the cool thing to do in school.
Mm-hmm. So how did you get started with your training, and what was that experience like?
I actually started training right out of high school. I wrestled in high school because I knew I wanted to do this, and I was like, this might be the closest thing I get right now. So I wrestled in high school, but then as I was graduating, I was looking at different schools around Arizona, and the Arizona Professional Wrestling Training Center was actually like a 5-minute walk from my apartment.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, okay, I'll go to this one. So yeah.
So yeah, the Arizona Pro Wrestling Training Center. What does that mean to you as someone who came out of it, and now you're the reigning Ultra Women Championship of Phoenix Championship Wrestling?
The Arizona Professional Wrestling Training Center is honestly more than just a training center. I feel like all of us there are one big family, first off. We all push each other to just be the best. Each and every time we step into the training center, I feel like there's just this vibe of, okay, for the next 4 hours, we're going to push each other past our limits so that we can get better each and every single day. They don't take it easy on us there, but it's also not them being mean or them like making us feel bad. It's them telling us that we can do better and that they know that we can do better. So they push us past our limits, and it's honestly such a beautiful culture because there's this blueprint set, and if I tell everyone, if you follow this blueprint, it's going to not only make you a better wrestler, but also a better person, because the people there, like, Don Vitale, he pushes us past our limits in wrestling, but also in our minds, because he wants us to be better people overall. And it honestly helps with your wrestling. It helps with speaking. It helps with how you go about situations in your real life. And it just makes you a better person.
I've had the opportunity on this show to speak with Dom, and he's very inspiring. Just how in his dialect, like, that man knows what he's doing. And how would you say it's affected you having a mentor like Dom in your professional wrestling career?
Honestly, like, I think about it sometimes, and just being able to travel to the places that I have, not to, like, say that they're any less, but I got so blessed with having Dom in my corner, and I go to Dom for literally almost everything in my life, because he has been through so much, and he also just, he knows what to say, and he knows the answers, and going to him, it helps me so much. And I know that I speak for everyone at the school when I say that we all trust Dom, because we know that he has nothing but good intentions for everyone in his life. And it's such a beautiful thing to just see him be able to coach for the past 3 years and help us all, but also start his own family. And I'm just so happy that not only is he helping me, but also I get to be a part of his life. So, yeah.
You mentioned high school and getting your kicks in kind of there. Have you been doing your squats since Coach Rhodes told you to do them senior year?
Coach Rhodes.
Yeah.
How did you get that?
I go to Mesa High.
Oh, wow. This all makes sense now. Yes, I was doing my squats. Thank you, Coach Rhodes.
What advice would you give to any other woman out there that are looking to start the pro wrestling journey?
The advice that I would give is ultimately believe in yourself. I know, especially because I feel like professional wrestling is a male-dominated sport. At the end of the day, you just have to understand that things will get tough, and especially when you first start and you get hit for the first time, I feel like that's when a lot of girls are like, oh, damn, this is real. And it might get tough, and also having a lot of people, there's a lot of people that have negative inputs about women's wrestling, and I feel sometimes that could get girls down. But you just have to understand that women's professional wrestling is continuously changing, and it's continuously evolving. So as long as we all believe in ourselves and we continue to push and knock down that door, that it's going to be a beautiful thing. So I tell everyone, you just have to believe in yourself. Because when I first started, I was super shy. I think Coach Rhodes could say this too. I was very quiet, and I was very just negative towards myself, negative in my mind. But with my mentors, and especially Dom, I was able to push past those voices in my head telling me that I can't do it. And once I started believing in myself and I started believing that I could do these things, that pushed me to the next level.
What is harder for you as an athlete? Is it the physical or is it the mental aspect?
I'd say the mental. I think physical, of course, everything's going to be hard just because wrestling in general is a hard sport to do. But like I said at the beginning, it was, okay, you can't do this. You're struggling. What are you going to do about it? And I would always get in my head about it. Even to this day, like sometimes I still get in my head. But once I was able to just shut those voices off and tell myself that I can do it, I was able to push past my limits. Even to this day, like when I'm down on myself or I'm struggling in a certain area of wrestling, I just sit there and I tell myself that I can do it. And it's really fixing what's in your head that will help you in the long run.
If you could go one-on-one in a match with any wrestler of your choice, who would it be and why?
I want to say Rhea Ripley, just because I feel like I'm someone that shoots for the stars, and
Mhm.
she is the top dog right now, and she's doing everything that you're supposed to be doing. She is so strong. She looks like she's killing people when she's in the ring, and I think that wrestling her would just be a lot of fun, and we could beat each other up.
What do you think Rhea does differently from other wrestlers?
I think she's herself.
Mm.
I think when she first stepped into NXT, I know she had a completely different look, but over time she was able to evolve, and her confidence is like more than ever right now.
Top notch.
Yes, so I think she was able to just express herself completely, and that just showed the fans that this is that chick, you know?
You have such a unique look. Where did you get the inspiration for your look, or is it just like you were talking about being yourself?
Well, I got the inspiration from Bull Nakano
Mhm.
originally, just because of the face paint and the hair, uh, and also Luna Vachon. I don't know
Mm.
so yeah, those two especially. And the more that I experimented with the face paint, I kind of just evolved into like kind of my own sort of look. Um, and like the hair dye and stuff. So yeah, Bull Nakano originally, and like over time, I think I'm just starting to get my own ideas of how to evolve it.
Your wrestling style is very physical, I want to say. Who are some of the inspirations you looked up to then and now for your wrestling journey as an athlete?
I'd say, well, when I was younger, I loved Triple H and I
Mhm.
loved Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. Like those are the guys that I was like, okay, these guys are super cool, and I want to be just like them. But once I started training, I started to really look up to my trainers. I think they're amazing when they wrestle. Like they have such a unique style, and I always say I want to be just like them. uh, Gabriel Gallo. He's one of
Mhm.
my trainers, and he's so great. And I just like I try and not copy him, but I'm just like I want to be just like you. Teach me how to be like you. Same thing with Joe Graves. He wrestles out here in Arizona, and he also comes down to the training center sometimes. Um, he calls me his mini me just because I'm like, dude, you are so cool, and you beat the heck out of everyone. I want to be just like you. Don Vitale, he's taught me a lot. Max, his name was Axel Keegan in NXT. They all just have they all have different styles, but I kind of just like take little things from all four of them and try and morph it into what I do.
Mm. What would you say is the crowning achievement of your pro wrestling career so far?
I think I haven't thought about that.
Mm.
Um, this title was such a beautiful moment. I think when I first started training at the Arizona Professional Wrestling Training Center, a lot of them talked about PCW Ultra. And I remember when went to my very first one, I fell in love with it. I just seeing the atmosphere and seeing the talent that they had on the shows and seeing how big of a deal this title was, I was like, I want that. And every single time I went to training, I was like, I'm pushing to get that title. And so when I finally got it, I was like, wow, that was a goal that I set that I actually achieved. So I'd say that was one of the biggest moments. I think also just making my debut,
Mhm.
because for a long time it was kind of unknown. Like you train every single day and you're pushing to have your debut, but you don't really know when it's coming. Mine came out of nowhere. There was just a random day where Dom was like, I think we're going to have you have your first match. And I lost my mind. I was crying. There was so much tears, and I was just so happy. So I always remember that day just because it was something that I was thinking about, but I wasn't really sure when it was going to come. And when it came, it was such a beautiful thing, and all my family was there, like all of my family. So it was really cool.
That is cool. Do you have a favorite memory as a pro wrestling fan?
Hmm. I think I was really big fan of CM Punk,
Mm-hmm.
like really big fan. Still am, but I went to the Royal Rumble when he wrestled The Rock in Phoenix, and that was really cool because that was the first time I ever saw him live. He ended up losing, but it's fine.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I saw him live. I really loved that moment. But honestly, just going to the shows with my dad, like, just he's such a big wrestling fan, and being able to see him just be a kid was always my favorite memories.
You mentioned your dad. Is he proud of what you do as a wrestler?
Yeah, he's like probably my biggest fan.
Probably goes to all the shows.
Yeah, he goes to every show. Him and my mom and my dog are always front row at every single show. So it's always cool to see them. And he's always like spamming the comments online. It's like an ongoing joke between everyone at the training center, but he has like 4 burner accounts because he wants to spam all of the comments with Zamaya. And he's always asking me about where I'm going to go. He's always trying to just send me places, and I'm like, it'll happen when it happens. But he just wants me everywhere, and he's so cool.
That's true love. And do you think maybe we'd see him in a manager role?
I don't know. He always has my dog with him, so I don't think we could have the both of them.
Yeah. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Globe, Arizona.
Globe.
It's about an hour from Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It's this very small town. I have a bunch of family down there. But yeah, it's like I'd say 15 minutes to drive through the whole town. So
Really?
it's very small. I love it down there. It's always so fun to go back just because like I literally know where every single thing is there just growing up there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always cool to see everyone that I went to school with when I was little, and for them to see what I'm doing now, they always have like such big reactions because it is a small town. I feel like not a lot of people get out of there. So they're always like, oh, it's so cool that you're doing this. And I'm just really excited because I really want to get a show out there too.
As a Mesa High alum yourself,
Yeah.
Were you impressed by the Anthony Robles movie if you watched that?
I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it
I really
either.
want to.
Yeah.
He's such a good coach. My sister actually got to have him as her coach because he started coaching once I left. But yeah, he's awesome, and I need to watch that movie.
Have you met Anthony Robles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a few camps with him at
Oh.
Mesa High.
Nice. Do you have an all-time favorite wrestler? Is it CM Punk?
Yeah, it's CM Punk. I also really love Triple H. He was always like, anytime he was on the screen, you're like, this dude is so cool.
What era of Triple H are we talking?
Let's see. Right before he cut his hair.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the longer hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember he had that match with Taker at WrestleMania. That was really good. Shawn Michaels, special
Yeah.
guest referee.
I was crying.
You were
It was
crying?
such a good match.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of performing in wrestling in other gigs, like as a referee, like special guest ref?
I don't know. I feel like if I was in a position where maybe it needed it, I would do it. I would definitely have like a pink ref shirt, and I would make it very much about me.
Yeah.
But
Making Zamaya's ref.
yeah, it would be Zamaya's match. No one
Yeah.
else's.
That'd be a cool stipulation name. Zamaya's match. Zamaya rules.
Zamaya rules.
What would Zamaya rules consist of in a stipulation match?
I would end up winning
Every match?
somehow.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a ref, I would end up winning.
Well, I mean, like if there was you had a match type kind of like bloodline rules. If you had Zamaya's rules,
Oh.
like what would that consist of?
I feel like if it was Zamaya rules, it would just be whoever gets decapitated first.
It's pretty out there, but as we wrap up our 5th episode of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, I'm Lance Reece, joined in studio with Zamaya, and I have one last question for her. So, Zamaya, at this stage in your life, what are some of the ultimate goals you're looking to accomplish in your career?
So, this year I'm looking to accomplish not only evolving my look, but also evolving myself in the ring. I really want to get to a place in wrestling where I know exactly who I am and I know exactly what I'm doing. I know Dom always says this. He's like, "You're a baby in wrestling. You're not going to know it all." But I just want to learn so much this year, and I want to leave this year feeling accomplished in a sense of I know who I am when I step out the curtain. Because every single day is a learning process, and I'm at a place right now where not only do I want to travel all these places, but I also want to bring like a whole new Zamaya to these places. So I just want to evolve to where I know who Zamaya is completely. And I always say it's Zamaya's world, which means I want to travel more places and take over more places. I want to go to New York. I want to go to Oregon. I'm going to Texas. I want to go to England. I want to go to maybe Texas again. But yeah, I just want to be able to not only evolve myself, but also travel more places because this is Zamaya's world and I need to take over.
Do you think we'll see you somewhere out of the country perform sometime?
I'm going to Canada in March.
Going to Canada?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I'll be out there. I really want to go back to Mexico. That was a good time. So yeah, I want to take over the world.
Thank you again,
Thank
Zamaya,
you.
for coming on to Wrestlezona.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored.
Well, that wraps up episode 34 of Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse. I'm Lance Reece, and in today's episode, we had 2 past interviews for you from Devin Reno and Zamaya, of course, in support for NWA New Mexico Duke City Championship Wrestling's Thrill of Tradition event, which Wrestlezona had the honor and privilege of going to yesterday, February 7th, and covering in full extent. We have that full coverage for you on 887thepulse.com as an article on our website. Of course, for more Wrestlezona information, you can always go to Wrestlezona.com or 887thepulse.com, and you can always get in contact on social media at Wrestlezona on Instagram is where you can find me. Stay tuned to 88.7 The Pulse, today's hits and your favorite for Wrestlezona next Sunday, February 15th, the same time for a more extended cut of our coverage of the Thrill of Tradition event. I have a very special guest coming in, and we'll be chopping it up about our time at the event. Of course, this is Lance Reece on Wrestlezona on 88.7 The Pulse, and until next time...
Support for Wrestlezona comes from the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix, offering wrestling-themed merchandise and collectibles. More information at WGSPHX.com. That is WGSPHX.com.